get up on that mic, they say.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go.
Great effects.
All right. The Blueprint Tour. We're here with Anthony
Scoppettone.
All right. And we've been showing, we talked to somebody about AI who's doing crazy things with detecting cracks. We talked to Ruben and how he climbs the windows and wants to climb all over New York City.
Josh.
Yeah, Josh's company, and that's been a cool conversation.
Yep.
And tell me about yourself.
Different perspective from my end. So at the ripe old age of 43, I've actually been construction for 26 years. So I started in exactly what Josh was speaking about, erection dismantling and made the scaffolding world. I used to hang off buildings, essentially.
Oh, really?
Build pipe scaffold, that sort of thing. Kind of got bored of that. Went to college, was a glazier the whole time. So I ended up working on, once again, skyscrapers, just from the glass perspectives, right? So railings, custom metal glass, that sort of thing. Became a computer programmer in the meantime. Graduated. And then went into the waterproofing roofing world. So I ran about 100 guys in the field for about a decade. I was a project manager, superintendent, and the IT director. And I worked on a lot of projects in the New York, generally, some in New Jersey, but Lincoln Center, I worked there. I built Parkway Stadium, MSG. I was at the Trade Center, the World Trade Center for about 8 years, Yankee Stadium. So I was involved in a lot of high profile projects for about a decade. So as if that wasn't enough, I decided to switch gears and I ended up in manufacturing. So I was the Northeast tech rep for about 2 years, training contractors on how to install different systems, waterproofing, roofing, and air barriers. Decided to leave there. And now I work for 21 different companies in 3 different aspects. So,
that's wild. What a journey from hanging off buildings to writing software.
Yeah. So it's funny. I was talking to a couple of my colleagues about.
You get this table for it.
If you want to hold it, I can get rid of the table.
Yeah, there's a lot of background.
So I was talking to a couple of my colleagues about how I used not AI at the time, right? Because it was 23 years ago, I just started implementing technology in all of my roles, right? Which led me up to where I am today. I think Mike just mentioned that, there's somebody in the group who may get a couple hundred emails a day. I'm kind of one of those people, right? And I've implemented a lot of AI to start to handle some of the high volume, let's say, low importance emails, right? And I feel for somebody who manages multiple lines and multiple companies, you need to integrate AI into your daily routine, period. It's really physically impossible to have somebody answer 1,000 emails a day.
Yeah, email is just crazy wild. I guess Fixer AI, I see a lot of ads on that people are using that. Most platforms now at least are using it to help summarize emails, but I'm always surprised, even in our profession, the architects and engineers we work with, how little they're actually implementing, even the most basic rudimentary use cases. Some of them just have ethical issues against it, or that's one thing, but then others just...
legal issues most of the time.
Yeah. And others will just kind of approach it as almost like a software that they have to learn. It's like, you don't have to learn much. You just type and talk to it.
I think they miss the naturalistic language that's used in AI, right? They tend to want to speak like a robot, tend to want to prompt it, when in reality, they really don't have to.
Yeah. So how are you, with emails and stuff, what other use cases are you using to work that?
So we're a small firm. So for marketing, right? I started using a couple different programs, and essentially I'll use like Buffer, right? And there's aspects in Buffer, there's aspects in Canva that have made my life a lot easier than it was about a year or two ago. I can write certain prompts within Canva and create something within minutes where it took me an hour prior, right? Buffer, when we started up, or when I started at this company, I think 8 years ago, we had 7 followers on LinkedIn and like 0 marketing presence. So, manually I grew it to a couple of thousand, and now it's a lot easier with, Buffer, like in general, right?
Buffer, is that the name of the software? What is
It's Buffer's a social media manager, right? So they integrated AI into their model, right? So now you can just write an idea, and pop in some keywords, and all of a sudden you get a post out.
That's cool. Will it aggregate any images or anything that you have that will generate them?
Right now you have to manually add them, but I'm sure that that's something that will be integrated in the future.
Yeah, it's wild. Like you said, if you're not using it, it's going to be difficult to keep up with, because if anything, everybody in general is applying it, which means the throughput of stuff is happening a lot faster. I work with our software team as well, and so a good example is when you're using AI to vibe code, it'll write a lot of code, and you got to be careful with your code base to make sure it doesn't fork, and you have 2 of the similar things programmed, basically the same feature, but 2 different versions of it, and then you got to track that down. But it gets better. The models are getting more sophisticated. The context is becoming better. But in our world, in our professional construction, wherever you are, you're going to start seeing more information because it's generated with AI. So if you're not responding to it with something that can go through that context, it seems like you're being possible.
You bring up a good point for a lot of people in this room. There's a lot of hesitancy because it's not something that you learn day 1 and day 5. It's the same information, right? It's constantly evolving, and you have to keep on top of that, right? So a lot of these principles, which are in this room right now, they're realizing they need to have somebody who is literally in that position almost full time, right? Or at least a majority of their time is to learn these LLMs, to learn these programs, to learn AI in general, to help their businesses move forward.
Yeah, and we talked to Nick a little bit. Do you know Nick Heim?
Yeah. Yep.
We talked to him. We did an episode with him when he was in DC. Talked about it, like the struggle to get people to adopt, even if you have somebody in that role, just given the organization. Ours is a small company, so it's a little bit easier to be like, use it, or don't work here. But
I mean, there's a generational aspect to it as well. Like, I'm approaching my mid-40s, unfortunately, but when I was in my 20s, it was a lot easier to learn this, right? So I've kept that pace since I graduated college, and I'm heavily involved in technology to this day, but most people aren't, right? So the average age of somebody who has institutional knowledge in my industry is 40 to retirement age. And then everybody below that is who they're popping into these positions to actually learn and implement and use AI within their companies.
That's interesting. The age, like the generational knowledge thing is interesting to me. I've seen people talk about being concerned because there's now fewer juniors kind of being brought in, and it's like almost because these seniors can use these tools, and if they are, it may supplant some of the junior level tasks and how to address it. I personally, my own belief is a good language model with a good context is a perfect junior and a senior engineer to you. So you can use it in both ways. You can delegate administrative level junior tasks to it, but you can also ask it, no matter how many years experience you have, for helping you interpret something about your project or what's going on. And so I think that for me, I think it applies to both sides of the equation, that even the juniors can use it that way. They can give it junior tasks and treat it like a senior engineer. And the way we bridge that gap is using them in tandem. Put a senior in the room with a junior and have them look and use the LLM together and explore it. How do you see that being used?
That's that is the most logical approach that I see, right? Because people like me have institutional knowledge, and you have the very, I would say junior, right? At that point, right? Because, the first 5 years you try to learn as much as you can within your company, and you're not really prepared to go out to the workplace and really make an effective change. A very small percentage of people who enter this industry within 5 years are successful. It's only until that 5 years when you start to learn everything about, what you're doing in that specific situation or position, I should say, is when a senior person should be partnered with them, right? Because the institutional knowledge has to be grown into a LLM at this point, so that they could grow up, those juniors can grow up to be one of those senior people. pretty much on steroids though, right? Because if you imagine you have 100 senior people, right, on this LLM, all with differing opinions, and they average it out to a certain opinion. Now you have a little bit of context that you didn't have before, right? Because you have more opinions, right? And that's the great thing about these LLMs. It's not one junior, one senior. It's unlimited seniors to unlimited juniors.
What are your thoughts? Like when you hear somebody that's maybe reluctant to use it, what is your general advice? And like when you talk to them about it?
You have to gauge their interest in it, right? Nobody wants to be forced in a position where they're doing something they don't want to do, right? So you can't make somebody successful when they're not willing to participate in it, right? A lot of people just don't understand AI in general. They're completely, I would say, confused by the notion of AI. And you start speaking about LLMs and they don't understand what the structure is, how it actually operates, how it works, how to feed the information, how to extract information. So you have to have, in my opinion, people who are just generally interested in it. It doesn't matter if they're senior, if they're junior, you want to have somebody to learn a new skill and then use it properly.
Yeah, that's a good way to approach it. In every organization is different. You know, for us, it was a little easier just to say, I mean, we did say, if you don't use it, you're not working here, especially in the software side of things. You know, if you're a software developer and you're not using it, that's wild to me. That's just so crazy. But, so did you say you're doing roofs now, roofs and leak detection?
No, so I'm on the manufacturing end.
Oh, manufacturing.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that because I'm curious about how that plays into AI.
So I would say, I'm an agent of many different companies, and I would say right now, it's probably like $500 million plus companies, right, that I work for. They're not typically using it at this moment. And in my space, there's a lot of legalities tied into AI, right? You want to dump financials into your AI model, right? Because you don't want them knowing what your books look like, right? For several reasons, but that's one large one. I think they are writing policies around how to ethically use it and how to protect their company. So I believe that they don't want their employees using it for anything other than emails, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very simplistic and basic right now. Will that grow over time? Absolutely, right? And I think this is the best event for that to happen because some of the experts in the room are the ones who are going to be working with manufacturers in the very near future.
Yeah, the manufacturer opportunities are probably exciting to think about. Like we were just talking with John earlier, the first guy, he's got T2D2.
T2D2, yeah.
Yeah, he's just so brilliant and what he knows. And I was just like, whoa, listening to him talk, but that's the edge device opportunity with these machines in the manufacturing process, potentially to sense what's going on and predict failure or measure throughput or, there's a lot of fun, I'm sure, interesting opportunities there just from the pure manufacturing floor side of the edge devices, the machines are putting things together. And then there's the business operations side of it, the communication between people, the purchase orders and whatever all of that looks like. Where are you in the process of all of that?
So I'm in the design process. So design and back end, right? So I will work with designers to drop a lot of my products and systems into their design, and they work through it all the way to the contractor level. So it's cradle to grave, right?
Okay, so in our world, is it like a rep, like an HVAC
like a rep.
Equipment rep?
Yeah, like a rep.
So so that makes sense. We talk to a guy we usually work with is Jeff Conso. He reps 15, 20 different companies,
same
products, and he helps us make selections and get the stuff we specify. Okay, that makes sense.
The product consultant.
Yeah, and so how often are you going to the trade shows and actually seeing the parts and pieces? I'm sure you get to see some cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm director and past president of IIBEC, so I'm heavily involved in this organization and several other organizations where I try to just soak up everything that's new, right? Because there's a lot of things that are trending and some of them are very short-lived. This isn't one of them. Like AI is not something that's short-lived. Most people think it's going to disappear or go away. I mean, that's never going to happen.
You might as well think the internet's just going to not become popular.
It's a great way to put it, right? And I think that people are hoping it goes away, to be quite honest with you, because they don't understand it, right? And that's why we're holding an event like this.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, for us, because I'm a mechanical engineer, and so building envelope and mechanical engineering are so tied together. So I'm excited to be talking to these folks and everything. And of course, we also are all in on AI. We have a small software team building our own internal tools, and so it's been an incredible conversation so far with everybody. It's absolutely cool. On just a real quick question, because you said software developer, how long did you spend doing that? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so my whole path since I was a kid, I remember my first computer, I think it was in 92. I had like a P2 266. I mean, it was this massive tower, compact tower. They don't exist anymore, but I was on the internet when it was dial-up, right? So I was in chat room. AOL. I was in chat rooms before there were visuals, no like graphic user interfaces. So
really, like a terminal typing?
Public library chat room sort of thing, and downloading music era and the whole nine. So I just really took to technology very early on in life, and it's something that never left me. I implemented in every single role that I'm in for the past 20 plus years.
Are you vibe coding like little ideas and stuff?
Not yet. No, I wish I had the time. I'm spending a lot of my time, doing this right now. But when I have some free time, I will probably get into things that I should be getting into.
I feel you do. I do that all the time. I'm like, why did I start this?
Yeah.
I can't stop myself.
Just become obsessed with it. I mean, it's great though. It's good stuff.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. I'll let you get back to it. That was a great conversation.
Yeah.
We will, oh, look at that. You got a round of applause. Good to see you, brother. We'll see you around.